Hey guys, welcome to the Alibaba Cloud Scientist Live event. You might know that today is the 11 event, which is probably the world's biggest sales event across the whole globe. It started pretty small, about 10 years ago in 2009, and we had this interesting idea that we should pick a date and basically try how enthusiastic the consumers are about online commerce. We picked 11 because that was a pretty cute number. 1111 looks like just for single people, and back in colleges and universities, we know that Singles Day. We call that a Singles Day. To our surprise, it started to become more and more popular, and it's probably combining shopping, entertainment, and all kinds of things into a big gala. And of course, now today, what you see is there's hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, and much more people on our platform and purchasing all kinds of goods and things like that. It creates a very interesting experience for our clients. If you're staying in America, you probably know Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Yeah, Black Friday. Double 11 is much bigger than the Black Friday and what is the Monday called? Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday combined. And of course, with these kind of scales, our scientists are being a little bit scared and excited at the same time, because it's a big challenge for us to deal with all those technology behind it. Now, today, if you care about science news, then you probably have heard things like big data and AI, artificial intelligence. And not surprisingly, these are the technology that basically drives the large-scale sales and entertainment events such as 11. First of all, maybe we should basically introduce ourselves a little bit, right? So I just introduced myself. My name is YangQing. I'm basically just a dude running around coordinating stuff, and probably it's more interesting to hear our scientist stories.
Yeah, this is Tony Guan. I'm mainly working on the big data technology in Alibaba.
Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Xiaowei. I work on real-time related stuff in big data.
Yeah, my name is Wei. Currently, I'm working on the AI infrastructure.
Pretty much scientists. They probably talk very short, but all the fields that they work on are pretty deep and unique, and I'm pretty sure that they're really irreplaceable. So Tony, tell us a little bit more about like the challenges and what big data and AI plays in the 11 event.
Yeah, sure. Well, actually, I would like to talking this topic by using two keywords. The first one is the electricity. This is, as mentioned, this is maybe the largest shopping event in the world. And from the system side, there's the largest peak from the traffic into the system in the single day. The electricity is one of the most important things for the backend system to supporting such traffic. And the electricity is also one of the most important fundamentals from cloud. So in 11, there are really high peak of the traffic coming to the system, and you got two ways to deal with such traffic. One way is you need to add more machines to support the traffic, or you need to throttle the user from putting orders and getting bills. So clearly, we do not want to do it in either way, because either we want to add a lot of machines, which means billions of dollars, or the other side, the user experience is not good. So in Alibaba Cloud, we are using a technology which would mix all the traffic from online to offline and mix the traffic together to make the electricity. To be specific, in the peak hour, I mean, when the first hour of 11, when the traffic come to the online traffic, and the big data system, which we have more than 100,000 machines, will back off, and all the machine resources will give to the online system. And after the first hour finish, and the big data system will come to using the online system to continue and to catch up the big data computation. And we call this and mix the deployment and global scheduling. And by using this technology, Alibaba saves billions of dollars of cost and also give users a really good experience. This is the first thing called elasticity. And the second technology in the back end, we call it the big data. And big data concept has been there for distance. And people really wonder what's the big data and how big it is. And today, we have a kind of concrete example. In a single day, as a really simple example, we have a really large GMV values, and those kind of bills to each of the merchant. There are millions of merchants, and those kind of billing calculation is a large computing, and should be finished in a single day. And this is a kind of one of the example of pipeline in our system, and this requires about thousands of machines running for hours. In those kind of pipeline, we have more than 10,000. And as a summary, and for big data, so if you can consider your phone, and typically this maybe 250 gigabyte of storage, and if you have 1,000 phone, this is 200 terabytes. And typically, if you consider those kind of phone may fill in this room, and you mention and imagine there are 5,000 of those kind of rooms phone, and this is the total capacity we process in a single day. And this is how big it is for big data. And this is for my part. And not only for the electricity and the big data computing, and real-time decision is really important. So, Sheldon may mention the next part.
Yeah, I can talk a bit about how we use real-time computing technology on 11. The simplest but very familiar example with real-time computing is probably the Tmall dashboard that everyone sees that displays the GMV at real time.
I've actually been just curious, what is GMV?
Yeah, that's I think it's called gross merchandise volume. So it's a little different from revenue. I also looked it up when I first see it. It's not really revenue because it's revenue to third party, not to the platform. But it's similar to the total amount of sales that's generated on that day.
Right. So that's basically the big number that we see on the screen of all those parties and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we see.
Do it?
Yeah. That's what we use. We use real-time computing technology to do this dashboard. In Alibaba, we use the technology we use is Apache Flink. Apache Flink is a distributed streaming engine. So the way it does it is whenever a new transaction comes in, we will trigger a computation and try to calculate what's the GMV at that time. But imagine if you do this, if you go through all the transactions since midnight until now, you will need to process a lot of data every time a new transaction comes in. Apparently, you will not be able to keep up with the speed. Right? Yeah. So that will not work. The interesting thing about Flink is they turn this calculation or computation into incremental computation. So every time when you get new transactions, we don't recalculate everything from the beginning. We only reprocess the data, the new data, and add it to the GMV that you get from the last calculation. You will get a current one. This way we can get the current GMV at very low latency and also process vast amount of data. By the way, the so at the peak we process billions of events a second with Apache Flink. So that's pretty big scale. There are lots of complexities in doing this. Right? The key of incremental computation is we introduce the concept of state. But imagine a distributed system, machines can fail. When machines fail, there is a risk the state gets lost or gets corrupted. Because we are talking about financial data, we have to be exactly right. So the way Flink did it is by introducing some kind of checkpoint algorithm to make sure, even in the case of failover, we can always make sure the state is correct. Every transaction will be included exactly once. So Flink will be able to produce the result at very low latency, process events at very high throughput, and get the answer exactly right. That's what we do.
So it sounds like a pretty straightforward topic. Basically, when a new transaction comes, we just add that number onto the current number, right?
Yeah, that's a very good question. In this example, it's pretty straightforward.
Right.
But in more complex queries, the state can be not so trivial. For example,
Right.
if you want to calculate the average, you cannot just say, okay, add to the average. Right?
That's true.
Yeah, it can be. This is still simple. You can keep a total and a count. Right?
Right.
But there are more complex scenarios. So the key is you need to figure out what's the state, what's the representation of the state that allows the calculation to become incremental. The nice thing about the Flink is we introduced the Flink SQL, so you do not need to worry about what kind of way to represent the state. You can just pretend you are processing the data from the beginning every time. Our query compiler will be able to figure out what's the right representation for state and how to incrementally maintain it. So
Right.
you don't need to worry about all such details.
Right. Yeah. I guess the other challenge is probably like every second when a billion numbers come, it's a little bit hard to use a calculator to do so.
That's true. That's true. So that gets to another point. So the amount of data we need to processing at real time is really huge. It basically means we need lots of computation power. It means we need to run Apache Flink on a cluster with thousands of machines.
Thousands?
Yeah, thousands or tens of thousands of
Right.
machines
That's huge.
to get such a throughput. And when you have thousands of machines, it's not hard to imagine. Some machines, the load across the machines will not be even. The load on some machines will be pretty low. The machines basically idling, not having much to do. And there will be some machines that load is pretty heavy and it's overloaded. When this happens, there is a risk. The overloaded machines may not have enough computation power to keep up with the rate of incoming events,
Right,
and
yeah.
this can cause delay in our result. A simple way is just throw in more hardware at it, but this
Right.
can be costly. Right?
It's expensive.
Yeah, what we do is we introduce the dynamic load balancing mechanism. So when we notice if a machine is overloaded, we offload some computation task to a machine with lower load, so we
Right.
can even out the load across
Right.
machines and make sure the cost is at check. So when we need more resource, we can try to get more resource from Ali Cloud, make use of it. When we are done with it,
Right.
we can return it. So we don't have to pay for it even when we don't use it.
Yeah, that's what we mentioned in electricity.
Yeah.
So cloud provides extra elasticity for us. Even as big as Alibaba, we still need that.
Exactly. Yeah, especially on such a day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to Tony a little bit.
Yeah.
So Tony, you mentioned that what we are doing is, like we do the online and offline compute systems.
Yes.
It's probably a little bit easier to explain what online means. Basically, everyone who is buying the stuff needs to browse the website and
Yeah.
do the transactions and things like that. So that's definitely super important. What does the offline system do? Like, what if the offline system just doesn't work? What kind of challenges there could be?
Well, actually, the user when the user see something and buy something, this is just the first part.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things needed to do in the backend system, and not only to finish the full circle of the shipping and aggregation and other part, but also there are decision making from the Alibaba side and pointing to the customer and also the merchants and for the decision making. And I just give one example for the offline part. For instance, and right now, and each of the single day, we need to put aggregated bidding. Bidding check to all the merchants, saying this is your yesterday's report, and this is the checks, and there is how many people just using our system, see our system,
Right.
and buy something,
Right.
and what's the trend for that, and what's the total volume, and the GMV you got from the single day, and there
Right.
are millions of merchants will get such kind of bills
Right.
each and every day.
Right.
And this is one of the concrete example the system providing to the merchants.
So,
Yeah.
so our offline system basically makes sure that every seller who's actually on the Alibaba platform gets paid on time
Yes.
and immediately as fast as possible.
Yes, yes, and just adding one thing on that part. This is not just as either as it looks like. There are a few challenges inside. For instance, you need to be 100% accurate. And the second one is, as mentioned, we have hundreds of thousands of machines, and the machine will fail by chance. And this is the nature of of the
system,
hardware.
yes.
Yes, the
Right.
hardware. You need to do a really good failover. The second thing, the third thing is about in the 11, and the traffic and the calculation and reached 10 times before.
Right.
So that's why we need the electricity to make that happen. To make sure even right after the 11 festival, shopping festival, the
Right.
customer will get the bill on time. Yeah.
Right. That makes some sense.
Yeah.
And I guess Wei has been there, been a little bit quiet for a while, but he's really kind of, AI has been really big, and Wei has been our AI guy for such a long time. So tell us a little bit about what AI plays in 11.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of the AI technology actually to support this amazing event. For example, I can give you some numbers. Right now, probably there's I guess that there's the 19% of this customer support actually is done by AI robot. It's not by the human being. Yeah, actually, the first time when you ask some question, they will respond by this AI. So and also we have a very good risk control system behind that to make sure that this payment don't have some float, and that's another core technology we're using for the 11. And we also has this event now is a global event. So to support these global users, we also use this AI to do this language translation across the different the seller or the buyers in different countries. They can use the Ding our application to communication without this language boundary.
So
And
it does real-time translate.
yes, real-time translate.
Sense.
And also there are some 45 billion of the purchase actually is made by actually is get the recommendation from our AI system. So because our is unlike the general search, we are more interested about this individual preference other than this ground truth. On the general search, probably you are care about the ground truth. So now we are all care about this individual because the individual human being has a different preference. And we have to guess what real he like, and to make sure that we can encourage them to buy something our system. And that's why actually Alibaba actually is invest in the recommendation system a lot, and in our this AI model actually is quite big because we include so many different features from the human being, like what he usually buying, and to guess what he actually trying to buy, and also include a lot of this knowledge graph. For example, you just get you have a new baby, and then probably 3 months later you probably need some diapers or. So the system actually, how to train this model actually is very challenging for us. We have to, this model has so sparse, has so many sparse features. We have to leverage that and optimize the system to get some benefit, or also to actually can fully utilize those sparsity and to accelerate the training speed. And we actually train this model across the thousands of machines. That's so big, even bigger than currently the system can support. So we have to enhance the system a lot to make that happen. Also, it's because the instinct actually shift very quickly. It's not like the ground truth. You say, okay, Lincoln is the president. That's never change, right?
Right.
And that's why we currently we are need some online learning system. So that's why actually our system need to continue to update our model and get the real result to actually capture the user interest in this shift.
Right.
Also, as the machine learning is not just about this AI model or training or the core part. It's also about the data. Without the data, currently we cannot have a good model. So because this real time, we have to link with our real time system to do a lot of the data cooking, collect the data. Yeah, I want to put another comment on this real time system, and because it's not only about the data is huge, we want to generate the report quickly. And usually, because we are a business
Decisions?
yeah, there's a lot of the business decision need to make on time because this event. For example, the people will see the sales performance and also see the other the statistic, and to make sure that his sales strategy is good or not. He probably will change his sales strategy within that day several times. That's why we have to deliver those report as quick as possible. That's another thing. Yeah,
So
probably.
I guess basically, like the offline system Tony mentioned just now is about making analysis and things like that every day. But even that, at a scale, it's really difficult. But we have like even more challenging questions of how to actually even make like hour-wise or minute-wise kind of decisions, right?
Yes.
I guess in the classical big data or data warehouse kind of solutions, we call that real-time data warehouse and things like that. I know Xiaowei has been working on that quite a bit. So tell us more about how we do that.
Yeah, so I can talk a bit more about it. So I just mentioned we use Apache Flink to do the real-time computation.
Right.
For this is probably good enough for things like the Tmall dashboard, but there are more complex scenarios. Just as we mentioned, you may want to do reports at real time, and the difficulty here is that you do not know what kind of query you want to run ahead of time. If you
Why
know,
is that?
because the boss can come in and say, tell me the total amount of sales
Right.
generated by all smartphones with a price tag less than 5,000 yuan and bought by someone in Hangzhou.
That sounds a very common business need, right?
Yeah, but he can change his query arbitrarily.
Exactly.
Yeah. You do not know what he's going to ask ahead of time.
Right.
If you do know it, you can make use of Apache Flink to pre-compute it. But in the case that you do not know, you cannot use Apache Flink to directly pre-compute it.
Right.
But fortunately, you can still use Flink to do partial pre-computation. For example, in this case, you can try to use Flink to calculate a breakdown of your sales by different dimensions, such as the product's category or the buyer's demography. Then you can put such a detailed breakdown information into a real-time storage system.
Right.
And the system what we are using is interactive analytics product. Interactive analytics is a product on AliCloud. It provides the distributed high-performance real-time data storage.
Right.
So Apache Flink will continuously write to this storage and to make sure the data is always up to date.
Right.
Once the data is inside our product, for example, people in Tmall's market platform, our operations team can use his favorite BI tool such as Tableau to directly query our product and get whatever answer your boss asks.
Right.
With this insight, they can make adjustment to their business strategy, like should we do some targeted promotion? And there is another interesting example. For example, we can even combine such information with AI.
Right.
We can try to predict if a product is in the risk of being running out of inventory. And when we find that, the operations team can work with our merchants to see if we can potentially add more inventory to that. Yeah,
Right.
such kind of things.
It feels that we're running out of inventory quite a lot because of high demand.
Yeah, especially for some top products.
That makes sense.
It's going really fast.
Right. Yeah. So what kind of other AI stuff do we deploy on 11 events?
The AI.
Right. No, I gave it the wrong hint.
There are other AI scenarios that are using in the 11. Let me guess. We actually, there's another case that actually also used a lot of the currently because right now is the video
Video is really hard, right?
Yeah, video very hard, and we also sells the goods actually on the live stream, just like we did a discussion on the live stream. So the people actually sell their stuff on the live, and we have to deploy a lot of the AI technology to help them to improve the sales performance, like how to beauty this background to make sure that the people actually has some cozy environments, cozy to encourage the people to place the order like that, and so that's why that we have so many like vision technology we used, and the face recognition technology, and also about identify this the object and to recommend some similar things on the site.
Right.
Yeah, all this technology will be used. And also, it's because this is a global event. Under background, we also has to have some risk control system. Like the picture is not that
offensive to people.
Yeah. Some people actually upload some garbage, very garbage picture into the system. We have to prevent our system. So that's why to make sure that this is they actually the people not to abuse the use of the system to do other things. So then we have to build a good how to say that economy system to make sure that this economy system is healthy, and as people actually can enjoy their shopping without other
disruptions.
Disruptions.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, since it's my first year doing Double 11, and I'm pretty sure that we're not going to be having any issues. So far we haven't got any issues. But hey guys, you guys have been doing Double 11 event support for quite some time. Are there some events or some things that, first of all, have we had any mishaps during Double 11? I hope I know the answer. But, on the
you
big
mean
data
the interesting story?
I mean, did we at some point make like big mistakes or things like that during the 10 years of support?
Yeah. I think that the first year when I joined Alibaba, that's 4 years ago,
right.
And in the Double 11, everyone actually in the room, right? Just to see the monitor to make sure that every this metrics is good,
right.
And just after this midnight. Because at the midnight we should see a spark, and it's a huge purchase. But the metrics are all, there's no that spark, and everyone actually in panic. What's happened? And say, oh, the system is crashed. It's down. What we should do? And actually, at the end, we find actually the people watch the wrong monitor. That the system is the test bed. It's not the production bed. And everyone actually looking at the metrics and say, what's going on? And for 5 minutes, and everyone is in panic. But and I think from as the time goes, then people actually get more and more confidence about our system. And recently, I feel that people are all enjoying the event instead of that to worry about such things.
That makes sense.
That means that people get more confident about our technology, our system. Yeah, that's a good thing.
It's a great thing. Yeah. Well, I guess even for that day, a few years ago, it was the system still holds up, and it's just a round monitor cable. Huh?
Yeah, definitely. Like things unexpected happens. Like I remember. About maybe 2 or 3 years ago, the first time when we used Flink to support the real-time data processing. So for the most critical jobs, we have both pipelines, primary pipeline and the backup pipeline. It was fine, but when we do a check, we noticed all the pipelines are supposed to use SSD for high performance.
The really hard disk.
Right? Very fast disk. But we on Double 11, we figured out on the main pipeline we were actually using SATA disks. We were scared, but luckily the performance of our system is good enough, so there was no problem.
That's nice.
Yeah. But it was scary.
was a little
Sure.
scary. But,
Yeah.
well, it's glad to hear that things still hold up.
I think one more thing.
Yeah.
So I'd say in my 3 years experience, I think double is kind of smooth. But I'd say from the surface it's kind of smooth. But in the backend system, we do a lot of preparations to prepare for all the things that may happen. For instance,
Right.
and the hardware can go wrong. The main core, the router, network, hard drive, machines, all the things can go wrong. And we prepared a lot of things to make that happen. To prepare if that happens, how do we deal with that? For instance, we have all our pipelines in levels and in priorities. And if we see some problem, we have to switch all the traffic to the backup system, which has not the same capacity with the primary one. And we will do throttle, and we will do the downgrade by using levels by level. And those kind of capability was built and prepared there. And in the past 3 years, that's not happened. But this is the technology in the back end we do to prevent if something happens, we can do something.
So we kind of like, I guess, like in the technology world, people say like chaos monkey type testing. And
Something like that.
So
Yes, we have a lot of chaos monkey testing. Yes,
that makes
yes.
sense.
Yeah.
That's great.
As mentioned, this is the first time we're using the whole cloud stack, Alibaba cloud stack, to supporting double 11.
Right.
Before this year, we are just sharing the technology, but a different deployment. But this year, we are using the Alibaba cloud infrastructure for that. And all the technologies and the products we mentioned in this session actually also provided services in Alibaba cloud as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
I guess if we can hold on, if we can hold the traffic of double 11, then we can probably hold quite a lot of things on the cloud.
Yes,
Yeah,
and provide the
Double
services.
11 is very special because that sales event is only one day. It's
Just
not
one
like
day.
We
the
really
Thanksgiving.
need the
There's the
yeah.
actually last for 4 to
It's,
5 days. It's
yeah.
all the months, right?
It's
The
a
people
month
actually- it's a
until
month,
Christmas,
yeah,
basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
until to Christmas.
we've all been to the States, and it seems that the holiday season is just getting longer and longer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's great. So yeah, I just got a request from our awesome staff, and they're asking us to answer an interesting question that we all that we all might have experienced before. So the question is, what do you purchase on Taobao? And it's a bit personal. What is your latest order in Taobao on your phone?
Oh, okay. Well,
Let's show it out.
Yeah,
Let's see how that.
I just buy a couple of the books.
Couple books.
Yeah.
We check.
Some books for my kids, some books for me.
Books.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, just to make sure that since all our phones are also connected to our internal chat about the system and things, everything's still good, right? I haven't got any bad signals now.
So far
Yeah.
looks good.
So far, so good. That's
Yeah.
great.
Okay. My last order is also a book.
Also,
Yeah,
book.
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's a very special one.
Yeah.
It's sciencey or
No, it's a book I was reading when I was at high school.
oh wow.
Already?
It's already out of print, but you can get it on Taobao with some print on
Oh,
demand
yeah,
service.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
You just
Yeah.
want to
Print on
claim.
demand.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, my last purchase was kind of a little bit boring-ish, I guess. A few days ago, I cut my lip when I was doing the shaving because I wasn't a really good one using the manual one. So as I bought a shaver.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope I can just like not appear weird with these kind of cuts.
No, okay.
Funny.
Also, mine is a kind of typical to our, let's say, the engineer. It's AirPod. It's AirPod. It's a very AirPod. And we can
the new one?
Yes,
The Pro one?
yes, it's a new one. We can listen to the music and also have the online calls, but do not holding the phone.
That's nice.
Yeah, I hope
Right.
you get a good discount.
Sure.
Good discount. Right. Well, I haven't got too much others. I'm also thinking about buying a, what do we call that thing? The Tmall the agent or whatever.
The
that
table
talks-
genie.
that talks
The
to you.
table genies.
Genie, right?
The table genies.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
so I guess the Google Home equivalent, but hopefully much better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Has
I think
better-
that we are all not typical consumer, you know.
Yeah.
It's all
So I guess, guys, we just talked about Alibaba Cloud's technology that's driving the world's largest shopping festival, and we're also the biggest cloud provider in the APAC area. While you're purchasing stuff on 11, be sure to check out the Alibaba cloud offerings, and we're also having exclusive offers that you might be interested in. We'll also invite you to post your questions about what is your technology challenge, what kind of technology trend questions that you might have. Post your questions on the link on the comment section, and we'll be happy to answer the representative ones of them.